Greetings everyone and welcome. I'm your host Captain Ryan. In today's video I'm playing in my favorite Tier 10 destroyer, the YueYang, Tier 10 Pan-Asia. As the battle gets underway, it's shards, it's standard battle mode. And I emphasize that it's standard battle mode here because that is going to dictate how I played this game. Now normally, if you're in a destroyer that's got decent concealment, a good rate of fire, like the YueYang, the Fletcher, the Gearing, the Harborhoffs, the Grozavoy, pretty much any of those, or even the German destroyer line, and it's domination match mode, especially in a destroyer-heavy game like this one, you would rush up to each of the caps and basically contest it. Just sit there, use your concealment or rate of fire, and determine whether or not you can take on an enemy destroyer. But because it's standard battle mode, there is no base to go and capture or contest. Well, there is, but doing so at the very beginning of the battle would be absolute suicide. Instead, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take this destroyer that's got pretty good concealment, I mean 5.8 kilometers here, and I'm going to use it to scout out the enemy. Now the enemy does have a destroyer advantage here. They've got 5 destroyers at the start of the game to my team's 4. They do have a YueYang on their team. Now the YueYang is probably a destroyer I don't want to run into here early on in the beginning of the game because that would basically be a fair fight. Now because I can't hit him with torpedoes, that's a bit of a problem for me, but it would be the same handicap for him. Now as I push up here past the headland of the island at what would be the Charlie cap point, the C cap point, I've already begun spotting several of the enemy battleships in the distance, including the enemy key. Now he's at quite a bit of a range, but he is inside my torpedo range here, and that is something I do enjoy about the YueYang. Torpedo range of 13 kilometers. Not as good as the Gearing, but better and or faster than the Shima. Now, enemy YueYang pops up here. You'll notice that I actually spotted him before he spotted me. And that gave me the opportunity to get the drop on him. Now he's going to go ahead, he's going to return fire on me. He does manage to set me on fire, but look at this. He switches over to the armor piercing. Not a move that he should have made. This isn't a Gearing after all, it is just the Yang. So because of that, he is going to suffer for it. Now, initially I didn't want to engage him here, but as you can see, he actually has less health than I do, which indicates to me that he's not running Survivability Expert. This is going to give me an advantage going into this game. Now, I did make a minor mistake here as I turned bow on to him. This was partly to minimize my target profile, but it was also to dodge torpedoes, and it was about this point that I realized, oh wait, he can't hit me with torpedoes. Now I managed to finish him off, do secure the first blood here, but look how much damage I took in the process. And because I'm still within the gun range of that key, was detected there, so forced to pop my smoke screen to break line of sight. Still on fire because I used my repair key earlier with my engine knocked out. Now my damage control is up here in a second, but the fire is going to be out before that's available. And it did end up costing me a lot of health. Incidentally, it cost me down to basically the Survivability Expert skill of HP. So having that skill going into that engagement was basically a fair fight, but I was able to get away with it by having the Survivability Expert. Unfortunately for me, that has left me dangerously low health. Fortunately for me, however, this destroyer makes an excellent torpedo-only boat. You don't have to use it when you're this low health to engage other enemy destroyers or even with your guns if you don't want to. Now I tried to get torpedoes off of that key, but that key is definitely running away. He's going down the channel there into the center where the Bravo cap point would be. And in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and get myself repositioned. Part of the problem that I had dealing with that enemy YueYang, and part of his problem simultaneously, was that we were isolated on the flanks there, trying to get around, trying to scout, see what we could see. And because we were isolated from our team doing that, the end result was neither of us had backup, so both of us basically just took a lot more damage from each other as opposed to having that backup to put the fire out onto that enemy destroyer so that he dies before you take too much damage. Now, I'm going to let the friendly Tirpitz up here be foolish and actually move forward here to engage this enemy Bismarck. Enemy Bismarck manages to dodge my set of torpedoes, but that's alright. I've got another set coming up here, and as soon as I know what that Tirpitz is going to do and what that Bismarck is going to do, I can get my torpedoes away. Now, I'm pretty sure the Tirpitz is not going to be foolish enough to turn the opposite direction again here, so I do get a set of torpedoes off. I basically know what he is going to do here is he's basically just going to go up there and get torpedoes away. Of course, that is going to mean that this Bismarck is probably going to maneuver hardcore to avoid those torpedoes, and yes, there they are. But look, this Bismarck isn't doing either of those things. He is continuing to sail in a nice straight line, and our Tirpitz is going to actually land a potential 4 hits here. But you can see shots coming in there from the enemy key there and other ships back there, really putting the beat down on that Tirpitz. Tirpitz does land a couple of torpedo hits on that Bismarck, not enough to sink him outright. Can I hit him? He was on fire there. I do hit him. Started a flooding there, but unfortunately for me, the Tirpitz manages to take him out with basically no health left there, although he did do a good amount of damage. But that Tirpitz, well, look where he is in relation to the rest of the team. He's out forward there, and he's pretty exposed. Speaking of a relation to the enemy team here, pay attention, there's the enemy Z-46 has just popped up at what is effectively our base. This is not a good thing for us because it means they've already managed to push down on that side and are challenging. Additionally, torpedoes coming out there, one hits the Tirpitz there, and there's a big problem for that Tirpitz there is he's got an enemy Yamato bearing down on him. Tier 8 battleship versus Tier 10 battleship, even though it's got pretty good bow armor and torpedoes, I'm going to have to give this to the Yamato. Now, because I don't expect that Tirpitz to survive, I actually used my available set of torpedoes to fire off down that channel. Hopefully I can connect on that Yamato. I'm really holding off on my second one because that Tirpitz has turned bow onto the Yamato, and I don't want to risk it because you never know, you might get lucky, you know. RNG just loves to land those natural 20s. But Tirpitz is dead, and because the Tirpitz is dead, I am now free to fire at the Yamato. Short my torpedoes a little bit there. I kind of expect him to turn a little bit, but I did manage, at least with the first set, to connect with 2 and cause some flooding. Now, he has hit his repair keys, put the flooding out here. But looking at the situation here, the enemy team is down a destroyer and they're down a battleship. My team is down a cruiser and a battleship, so the enemy team is currently up on points. So provided our Kurfürst can stay in the game and maybe take that Yamato out, we should be in good position. But you can see there are torpedoes coming out there. They did hit that Kurfürst there, and that indicates that there is a destroyer that is back there. Now, my torpedoes look really good right now, but because I shorted them and because that Yamato did not turn in and he didn't change his direction, not a single one of my torpedoes hit. If I had put it right on the lead indicator, I probably would have nailed him. Unfortunately for me, did not do that. And now, because of my positioning, it all comes down to our Kurfürst to get the job done. In the meantime, I'm headed back towards the friendly base because that seems to be where the bulk majority of the enemy fleet is headed. Now, our Kurfürst manages to take that Yamato out, but look how much health he's got left after engaging that Yamato. Not a lot there, so there's not much hope he's going to survive too much longer, especially with the destroyer somewhere back over there stalking him. In the meantime, I get a set of torpedoes off down the center channel into where is the B cap point. There is the enemy Minotaur, very, very dangerous cruiser that needs to die, preferably before he spots me, and hopefully our Kurfürst can put some hurt onto him. But it looks like that Minotaur did pop his smoke screen because he has dropped off with that Kurfürst so close, and with him out there, that's going to be bad for our Kurfürst. Now, smokescreen has just popped up here just outside of our cap and just inside of our cap there, and you'll notice that our cap is being contested. This tells me that that is an enemy destroyer in that smokescreen, but I don't know which enemy destroyer, and this concerns me. If it's the Fletcher, well, I might be able to deal with him. I've got a lot of backup here. If it's something else, I'm not sure. And it was something else. The Z-46, as I was detected there briefly, and that was a split-second notice on my part that I was being detected from inside the smokescreen with a hydroacoustic, so that told me exactly what destroyer it was. But now you can see here, that destroyer has been effectively forced out of his smokescreen. So I've popped my smoke screen. He's turning away. There's nothing he can do. He can't come and pursue me like you would want to do with that hydroacoustic in this situation. And you can't do that because I have backup. If you tried to, it would ruin your day. Now, he did manage to kill our destroyer with torpedoes, which is unfortunate. And it looks like our poor destroyer managed to detonate on top of that. Really terrible. But you can see there, he's firing into my smokescreen blind right now. He is actually managing to connect with me. That scares me just a little bit here. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to push out of my smokescreen, see if I can get spotting on him because he does have a higher detection range. But he opens fire there briefly, so I'm able to get shots off. Now, we both have about the same amount of health here. He has a Grozovoy off in that smokescreen in the distance there, but I've got a lot of backup too as I try to get my shots off there. Don't manage to snag the kill on him, but that's okay because he's dead, and I've got my speed boost up, so his shots managed to miss me. Now I've got about 2,700 health left here, and I've got to decide what exactly I want to do in this situation. Right now, my team is in the lead. We've managed to take out 3 of their 5 destroyers, so my team has the destroyer advantage, albeit with me very low health. We do have Friendly Fletcher here, who's got a good amount of HP. I guess it was a different Fletcher, or a potential different destroyer, that got taken out by that Z-46. So with that Fletcher, though, provided he plays it well, we really can dominate this end game as of now. And the enemy Fletcher has just popped up there. He's not got a lot of health left. He's about half health. So if we can get our cruisers to concentrate fire on him, and preferably concentrate fire on that tier 10 Grozovoy there, with both of those destroyers dead, that would really help, especially the Grozovoy, especially for me, dealing with how much health I have left. The Fletcher I could probably take with me. The Grozovoy maybe, provided I get the drop on him. Both of those destroyers, either way, I would really like dead. So, because I've seen where both of those destroyers are, I know where I can now go safely. They're both in the channel there. And because I know they're both in the channel, and I don't know what's back behind that island, and I don't have any fire support back on this side of the map, I'm turned around and I'm headed towards where the B cap point would be. I'm basically going to follow Friendly Fletcher up here and see what I can hit. Now, because I've got the deep water torpedoes, I can torpedo behind that Fletcher. And since there's a couple of battleships and a Minotaur back over there as our Fletcher comes around that corner, he's already got his torpedoes away. Oh, this is just poor timing. That Minotaur absolutely rips into him. Really unfortunate there, but hopefully with any luck that Minotaur will try to slam on his brakes and smoke up, and both of my torpedoes will connect with him. At the very least, I can hopefully land some on that enemy first. In the meantime, I'm going to continue sailing towards the back here, and I'm just going to kind of cover this channel approach. I might be pretty low health here, but because I've got torpedoes available in just a minute, and I do have some backup here, I can provide the all-important spotting advantage over on this side, and hopefully prevent these ships from coming this direction. Now, it looks like, though, that they're turning around hard, and I'm surprised by this decision. And at the same time, I'm not surprised at all. Seeing what they've got to deal with back over there, it kind of makes sense. Now, it looks like my first set of torpedoes headed down there might run out of range just before hitting that Kurfürst, but they did manage to impact that Kurfürst, cause some flooding, but you can see there, he's put the flooding out immediately. Second set was fired a bit closer to the mouth of that entrance there, and instead they all just impacted harmlessly into the island. And now, though, I'm going to come up here, and I'm actually going to push in and hopefully try and get some more torpedoes. Now, this is a bit of a foolish action here. I am keeping my eyes out on what is visible and how far I am. I don't want to come around this island with that Minotaur right there. Simultaneously, I would really love to get some torpedoes out at him. Now, he is outside of my detection range, which is wonderful. I've almost got the second set of torpedoes up, and I think I know where he is. He's right back behind that island there, but I'm not sure if he's going to go forwards or if he's going to go reverse. He pops up yet again, and he is reversing, so I fire off a set of torpedoes down that channel. With any luck, I'll connect with 1 or 2 on him as he tries to nudge his ass backwards into that channel and out of the direct line of fire. In the meantime, since I know where he's at, and I know where pretty much the rest of the enemy team is based on what's popped up, I know that this side of the map over here is completely wide open. And I'm going to use this to my advantage, go through this channel, and start pushing up towards the enemy base. Now, as I do this, you're going to see an interesting chat situation pop up here, where somebody on the friendly team is going to start talking about what we need to do to win. Specifically, he's going to comment repeatedly not to push the enemy base, not to put pressure on the enemy base, because right now we have the points advantage and there's only 4 minutes left in the game. Now, this is somewhat a bit of a good advice, and somewhat not, because you see the enemy team, well, they've got that Minotaur, and that Minotaur is a very dangerous cruiser, and depending on how he positions himself, he could actually carry the game. And they still have a destroyer left. Well, they had a destroyer left until our Z-52 takes out that Fletcher with torpedoes of all things. I love doing that when I'm in my Z-52, especially because they don't do a lot of damage, and a proper Fletcher captain can actually survive, provided he's got full health. Of course, we know that guy absolutely did not. Enemy Minotaur pops up again, and I know where both of the remaining battleships are. Now, they have a Bismarck up there, and they've got a Kurfürst up there. And since I know they're both back behind their base, and I know the Minotaur's down that channel, I'm in prime position to go and put pressure on their base. And here is where the chat starts popping up with that teammate who's saying, no, we have the points advantage, don't push, just chill out, chill back at base, protect it. And again, to some respect, that makes some sense, but look at the position of that Minotaur. Remember, he's got torpedoes, and if he wants to, he could probably take on our battleship that's over there and likely win in a straight-up fight if he uses the islands well. So, because I know that that Minotaur could change the balance here, I've pushed up into the enemy base and I've started contesting it. This is going to give our team points as each 3-second period ticks over here, and hopefully we can open up a points gap so that if that Minotaur does manage to take out somebody, we can still win on points. And more importantly, it forces the enemy team to react. They now know that there is an enemy in their base, and based on what they can see, they know full well it has got to be the only remaining destroyer on the team. Now, this is where the tab feature works out really well, because you can see full well what the enemy destroyer is, and they would know it was the YueYang. Of course, that Bismarck continued sailing around that island. He got hit by one torpedo, finished him off with the rest of the torpedoes, and now we are really up on points. And at this point, I don't need to push into the base. I don't need to contest it, because they're just down that Minotaur and this Kurfürst. This Kurfürst is broadside onto a bunch of ships here, and he is sailing. Now, he's got a decision to make here. He knows there's a destroyer back over here, because he just watched his ally get torpedoed, and he knows somebody was sitting in the cap earlier. Simultaneously, he knows that I'm not in the cap anymore, so I could have gone anywhere. So what does he do? Does he turn bow on and bow tank the Yamato, or does he continue sailing towards me and minimize the risk of getting torpedoed? Well, I'm going to make his decision to turn to bow tank the Yamato a very, very unwise one here, as I push back into the cap so he knows I'm here. You can see him, he's trying to slam on his brakes, he's slowed way down, and I've got my torpedoes out here. Nice wide spread to catch him, and there's only a minute left in the game, but they might very well connect with him. Now, enemy Minotaur, very low health, but look, our Yamato was taking a lot of damage, partly from that Minotaur and partly from the Kurfürst. Now the Kurfürst is turning away, and I might be able to hit him. I'm low health here, slam on my brakes, pop my smoke screen. He's going to remain detected thanks to the Yamato, and with any luck, I'll be able to connect with a torpedo and ideally set him on fire with it. I mean, nice. Minotaur, very low health. Yamato, also reasonably low health, did manage to connect, set a fire. Yamato no longer has line of sight on him, and that Minotaur is starting to heal up, and he's going to come around that corner. He really needs to die, but look here, torpedoes on their way. It looks like I'm going to connect with at least one. There's my Confederate award. Come on. He's turning hard. He's trying to avoid him, but I do manage to connect, cause some flooding, but it's not going to be enough. Is it going to be enough? Can I get the kill? Come on. No, I didn't get the kill. He got burned down by the Zao there. Still, though, 150,000 damage right there down to the wire. 2 kills, first blood, Confederate, and kind of proves the point that, yeah, even though you had a bad first engagement in these kinds of destroyers, you can rely on your other skills and the other abilities of these destroyers to really, really work the enemy team over. Top of the team for XP earned at 1900 base XP there. Very, very nice. So the Z-52 coming in a close second. Anyway, that's it for today's video, folks. If you like the video, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. If you'd like to get semi-regular channel news and updates, you can do so by liking and following me on Facebook. If you got a replay like this one that you'd like to see featured on my channel, you can send it to my email. If you'd like to help support me and the channel, you can become my supporter on Patreon. And if you'd like to watch me play various games live, you can do so by following me on Twitch. You can find the links for all of those in the video description down below. And as always, I'll see you next time. This is Captain Rye, signing off.